welcome back to the next episode. I can't remember which number we're at now. 5 maybe, 4, 5. No, I think this is 5. So, we're just getting ready to go on to our rite of passage. 73% through. I'm sitting on a bus. The sun streaming through the windows is making it hard to see. The narrow road cuts through a dense old forest. My mind wanders. I remember doing something important, walking among the trees, looking for something, losing something I loved, gaining something unwanted. But then I'm fully awake, and the memories scatter. We're almost there, said Anya. I did some searching. She looks at me from over her phone, and this place is amazing. The last primordial forest in Europe. Can't be the last one. Ooh. So I'm not able to finish. I start to cough. Spit blood. My throat is sore. My lungs hurt. I need to get out. I hit the window and it moves but doesn't break. It's grey and dull. And some of it stays on my hand. The substance is sticky. It makes my skin itch. Spiders. Oh. My hand is crawling with thousands of tiny spiders, weaving their webs around it with tremendous speed. The whole bus is filled with them. I fight. I try to fight them, but they are too small, and there are too many of them, and after a few seconds I am covered in cobwebs, unable to move. There's a hiss. I hear a hiss. Then slowly, a long, dark, bloody shape comes out of Anya's eye socket and pushing the eye out. A black snake that reeks of rotten meat, acid and oil. Don't fight, Maya. You're already mine, it says. Just like your grandpa. And then it kisses me. Ooh. Kinky. I woke up in my bed in the B&B, and for a moment I thought the whole werewolf business had been a dream. Then I heard a startled breath, looked up, and saw Anya look at me with wide eyes. What happened? Where were you? She asked. I was scared shitless. And what was with you sneaking in through the window in the middle of the night, naked? She raised her eyebrows. I did some crazy things back home, but I've never partied that hard. Yeah. I got startled by a stray dog on my way back, panic shapeshifted and ruined my clothes again. There was so much to talk about. I didn't know where to start. I was worried about her. Are you alright? I asked. I was worried about you. Yeah, said Anya, scratching her head. After we were separated in the forest, I got lost and somehow ended up here. Hadn't she seen us? I sighed with relief. She was telling me what she thought was true. She had no recollection of seeing werewolves, so Pat was right. The human mind could not cope with seeing a Krynos, and when the delirium ended, the subconsciousness patched the holes in the memory with something rational. But how are you feeling? Asked Anya. How was I? I'm alright. Sorry for disappearing so suddenly, I said. But what else could I say? I lied about the naked stunt. The naked stunt was just a dare. I lied without even blinking. I got carried away and then it was too late to turn back. I hoped that would take Anya's mind off the other stuff. To my surprise, it worked. She just shook her head and didn't press for more details. I wanted to tell her everything. I packed my bag in silence. I felt a rift growing between me and Anya, and I felt a sudden urge to tell her everything. But I couldn't. Wisdom. But I wasn't allowed to. I was a guru, and I had a sacred duty to protect the veil hiding us from mortal eyes. I sighed and continued packing. So are you leaving? Asked Anya. What about the forest? I didn't know how to answer. I shrugged. Whatever the answer was, it was now Maya, the werewolf's problem. Maya, the student, was dead. I'll be in touch. Anya hugged me. You'll figure it out. I sighed, took my bag, and left. Everything according to plan. I dropped my bag in the camp and ran through the plan one more time. They expected me to act like a galliard, but we'd also discussed other plans, both more physical. That's cool. I want to set fire to stuff. Olga and Lisa arranged the meeting. They were pretty vague about who the people were. Lisa said something about Donbass, the freedom fighters. The men had what we needed. Stop the logging by force. To end the logging with a bang, we needed explosives, and these men could supply them. After a few days of exchanging coded messages, we were ready to meet. We drove to the outskirts of the village. There was a farm there that was supposedly deserted, and yet I could sense someone's presence. This is your operation, repeated Olga. I'm only here as a backup. Got it. I was calm. Everything was under control. Olga nodded with approval. I felt blood singing in my veins, and I couldn't wait for some action. The abandoned farm was dark and quiet. Under the stars, I wondered for a moment if we should barge right in or risk taking a look around. Was it a good moment to change, or should I proceed as a human? I had a quick look around. I'll have a quick look around, I whispered. Olga nodded. Join me inside when you're done. I roamed around the farm. There was a car hidden behind the house, but I couldn't risk breaking in. Not yet. But I had another idea. What's this other idea that you had? But there was something that I could do. I quickly pried open the hood and disconnected some cables just in case. I had a feeling that was going to be it. I snuck inside the house and stayed in the shadows. The men were fidgety, tense, on edge. I could almost smell their anger, like an undying scent of burning rubber. There were 3 of them in the house. They were all in their mid-30s, unshaven, and reeking of stale alcohol. I observed. That's cool. Lisa sent us, said Olga. So what? Said one of them. The other 2 laughed. Olga smiled in a very unpleasant way, showing her teeth. You have something for us? We don't have it, one of the guys shrugged. I tensed. It was a setup. Olga's voice was clear. What do you mean you don't have it? She was in trouble. It was Krynos time. I let my rage guide me. Someone grabs me. They reek of the worm. The worm, manifestation and symbol of evil, entropy and decay in Guru belief. I disarm him. Excellent. Literally disarming him. I push myself away from his grasp and pull the gun he's brandishing. He crumples to the ground, his arm still in my hand. Screams. They reach for their guns. I attack. I jump towards the man in front of me. He's quick. He starts to shoot. I grab his arm and yank at it. Something soft and gooey covers my hand. Then Olga appears and starts ripping them to shreds. I join her. and a few heartbeats later, it's over. Let's get out of here, Olga yelled, and she was right, we had to move. The farm was on fire. I grabbed the bag. I grabbed the blue canvas bag, slipped on a pool of blood and almost fell. We had to run. We jumped into the car and drove off. Shit, shouted Olga. Seeing the blue lights of police cars in the distance, she made a hard right, drove into the woods and turned off the lights. There's a shortcut, she said. Hold on. I looked into the night, lost in thought. I felt like a spectator in my own life. Ooh, Firebringer. Progressed. Got mission. A werewolf, Gaia's warrior, with a bag full of explosives. Ah, yeah. A moment of triumph. Let's have a quick look. Glory, honor, wisdom. Blow up the harvesters and stop the logging by force. Police unfriendly. Olga friendly. I couldn't wait for the set meeting that morning. Getting the explosives was my rite of passage and I knew that I did great. I couldn't believe that I made it so far. We met soon after the sunrise on the same clearing when I woke up for the first time as a guru. Lisa looked at us all and smiled. Our patrons were looking at her expectantly, so she stepped towards the centre of the clearing. I am the theurge of this set, and I'm here to make sure we do things the right way. The theurge. Those born under the crescent moon are mystics and seers dealing with spirits, interpreting visions and omens. Oh, excuse me. I held my breath. Maya, come forth. Are you a cub who seeks recognition as an adult? She knew that already. You know that I am. I rolled my eyes. Are you a cub who seeks recognition? Again. This was ridiculous. Oh dear. Oh no. I am a cub with no honour. I am, I answered, not even trying to hide what I thought about this ridiculous charade. Are you an applicant to a tribe? Lisa asked again. I confirmed. I am, I answered. Who speaks for the cub? Lisa looked at her setmate. I do. Olga stepped forward. I am Kestrel of the Black Furies, Arun of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack. I observed the cub on her mission and I am here to tell the story. I guess they all had secret wolf names. It made sense. A new life demanded a new name. Would I have to take a new name? Has the cub passed her challenge? Asked Lisa. I held my breath. I knew how it all happened, but I held my breath nevertheless. She succeeded was the answer. She fought bravely against overwhelming odds, and she succeeded. Lisa turned to me. Have you chosen your name? My new secret name. Suddenly I remembered my grandfather talking about his friends. He never used their real names. They were always Thunder or Grey or Needle. I'd always thought it was a guerrilla thing, some kind of war names. Now I wasn't so sure anymore. How to capture my whole life, my aspirations, my heritage in one name. I cleared my throat. Mist. A name with more than one meaning. Pison, which was Polish for song. Pine. A tree in the forest. Cassandra, a misunderstood seer. I think I'm going to go for Pine. Name Maya Pine Borodich. As for the tribe, choosing the tribe was another matter. So, I'm not a big fan of Olga. I just don't know. I like Lisa, but we don't know who she is. So I want to be a red talent. That would have been awesome. But far gaze. Electric Beetle. Blind Prophet. The Children of Gaia. Philodox. I think story is taking me to be a Black Fury, isn't it? Rainbow Rat of the Bone Gnawers. Galliard of the Winter Weasel Pack. Ah, see, I'm torn. I'm torn here. Kim, a non-binary and activist from Berlin, old, with deep wrinkles around a narrow mouth and a grace of a tired, heroin-preserved rockman. They sported shoulder-length, dishevelled hair and nails painted bright blue. They were a werewolf. They were known as Rainbow Rat of the Bone Gnawers, Galliard of the Winter Weasel Pack. I like Kim. Yeah, Bone Gnawer. Tribe, Bone Gnawers. After getting to know all of them better, I decided to become a Bone Gnawer. Kim agreed to mentor me. Only one thing remained to end the ceremony and make me a full-fledged guru. I had to join a pack. I had already sworn to the Wolf Mother. As my fate had already tied with the Wolf Mother, I chose her as my patron and joined Olga's pack. And so it was done. According to the ancient rites, Lisa painted the mystical glyph of my tribe on my sternum. It disappeared after a moment, but whenever I closed my eyes, I could feel its warm touch between my breasts. Pine of the Bone Gnawers, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Pack, Wolf Mother Pack. Welcome to our sept, she said solemnly. Then she howled. Howls rose towards the sky. They sang about ancient laws of war, status, and secrecy. I remembered only a few. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it breeds. Submit to those of higher station. Respect those beneath you. The veil shall not be lifted. I joined the song. Cleath! Woohoo! Ranked up. Honor has gone up. Let's have a look. So, Maya Pine Borodich, 24, student. Homid Galliard, Cleath, Bone Gnawers, Morning Wolf Mother. Let's go. Goal, identity. Earn glory, honor, and wisdom to make your own legend. Pursue to regain willpower. The winter weasel is cautious. I threw my head back and howled with my sept. I was a cub no more. I was ready to tell my own stories, to earn my own place in the pack, to howl my own songs. I like the little loading thing as well. The storm. Dust to dust. It was one of those blistering summer days when the asphalt melts, the grass withers, and the air smothers those brave enough to step outside. Despite the heat, it felt like the whole village was at a funeral. I was there as well. I stood there surrounded by the grieving crowd, looking at the rosaries they clutched in their fists. It was surreal. One of the security guards had been found dead near the logging site. Nobody knew exactly what had happened to him, There were whispers of rabid wolves. There had been more deaths. There had been more deaths over the last days, but they slipped under the radar. We'd been careful in covering our tracks, or nobody had connected the dots yet. I listened to funeral hymns, and I thought that for my every battle-inspiring song, there was an old lady singing eternal rest in a trembling voice. I could feel the tension seething around me. This death, the funeral, had pushed the community, already weary and frightened by the recent disappearances in the forest, to the edge. The world was watching. The press had swarmed to the funeral like flies. I could hear them squawking about eco-terrorism and aggressive vegan activists. The police had cordoned off the funeral and were aggressively searching and detaining any activist they noticed. It had become political. Suddenly, Pushka Biłowice had become politically charged and the hottest place to be in Poland. And it wasn't only local politicians and activists from both sides who'd caught wind of the commotion. The Minister of Environment himself had driven to Biłowice to attend the funeral. He was standing next to the priest conducting the ceremony, surrounded by police that looked like a handful of bodyguards. The coffin went down and the crowd stirred. Everyone started lining up to throw in a handful of dust on the coffin or put flowers in the grave. I felt someone joining me. Just look at them, said Lisa. Nobody wants us here. They fear us but would never admit it. Ignorance bred fear. Ignorance breeds fear, I shrugged. It's human to fear anything they don't understand. Very true. They would want us gone, even if we weren't the guru, she scoffed. From the outside, we were activists fighting from the Pushka, but for the local we're just strangers barging in and telling them what to do with their lives. But we just knew better. But we just understand more than they do, I said. The stakes are too high to let sentiment stop us. Nevertheless, she was right. The crowd was not happy seeing us there. And the minister knew how to use that sentiment. I listened in disbelief. After 30 seconds of listening to that pompous ass, I thought I would vomit. He spoke furiously about how wood was important for the local economy and how evil forces from abroad were leading innocent Polish youth into temptation. Judging by the applause, it was exactly what the crowd wanted to hear. He was trying to escalate. I realised the conflict was only going to escalate. He was determined to push on with the logging. We were waging a war against overwhelming forces, and the explosives would come in handy. We were ready to strike. Big bad wolves. It was high noon, the sun was at its most merciless, and the world was almost white with heat. The air smelled of herbs, bark and tree sap. Insects buzzed lazily in the high grass, stunned by the summer sun. We were ready for war. We lounged in the shadows of the trees, resting after a busy night. We were ready for war. I warmed up. I watched the clearing. I rested. I looked at the sky, listening to the whispers of the trees and enjoying the last moments of peace. I dozed off. As I slept, the protests slowly gained momentum. There weren't so many of us, but everyone in the clearing knew why they were there. There was equally a big crowd against us, local citizens, hunters and loggers with banners reading "Foresters save trees from woodworm" and "Forestry equals jobs." There was a priest with a megaphone and his parishioners fill the earth and subdue it. Their sign declared. I spotted a group of bald, muscular young men dressed in black with white pride in Great Poland. I wonder if we can kill them first. Variety drawn there by the smell of blood. Bartek was among them. The Pushka was watching us. The butcher was watching us. Every time a gust of wind was bringing that wet smell of the forest to my nostrils, I felt her strong, steadfast presence. She knew that we were doing everything in our power to save her. I could feel the immense presence of the forest, whose life was a myriad of smaller lives interconnected into one superorganism. And then I looked at us and them and smiled bitterly, because I realised that both sides of the conflict saw the others as the sickness and themselves as the cure. I looked at the harvesters. I looked at the defaced harvesters waiting on the other side of the clearing. Loggers milled around them like ants over a disturbed anthill. I thought about the explosives. They had no idea about the explosives we planted on the machines. There were enough to destroy the harvesters. We'd set them to destroy the harvesters, hopefully without any casualties. The detonator rested safely in Olga's pocket. The pressure was almost palpable, and tempers were flaring. The cops were gathering, or I looked at my pack. Everyone knows what to do. I'll keep the security guards occupied, nodded Lisa. I'll guard the Pushka's perimeter, growled Daniel. I glanced at the weasels. The weasels were in their positions among the protesters, as agreed. That left the cops to me. I'd kept my eyes on them. I'll keep my eyes on the cops, I said, and we'll make sure the activists are safe. That's not the plan, Olga reminded me with a predatory smile. Deal with the cops and then we burn the harvesters. The cops were gathering. Police is unfriendly. The cops were gathering in increasing numbers, and I noticed some SWAT teams joining them. Even the local hunting club were there, brandishing their rifles. Does that remind anyone of a current conflict going in the world where the police are getting supported by people with guns? It's just not good, is it? Makes you sick. Something was up. Yeah. It was apparent that they were waiting for something. Then it reached boiling point. It reached boiling point when the minister arrived for a photo op. So there are so many things that you can draw comparisons of at the moment with this. I'm not going to go into it. I want to, but I'm not. But I have certain feelings about this right now. I had a bad feeling about it all. Ugh. My stomach turned when I saw the black SUVs. I had a bad feeling. I felt my pulse race. Journalists swarmed around him, praising his balanced forestry policy as they steered clear of the ugly harvesters. In hindsight, you could argue that what happened next set a chain of events in motion that had life-changing consequences for many. But change didn't happen just like that. There's this notion that change is sudden. Movies and video games would have us believe that it takes one moment, one decision, one knock-on effect to turn the tide. But the world doesn't work like that. It works like a forest. Like Pushka. Change is like growth. Change is slow, barely visible process. A series of decisions, yes, but also coincidences. Of chances being taken and people doing what they can to survive. Change is like growth. And we had grown. The members of my sept had already moved to their position, and I also had my part to play. Do I detonate the explosives and destroy the harvesters? Do I throw a Molotov, hopefully at the minister? Or do I give a speech? I gave the last speech. No, let's blow up the harvesters. I waited for the best moment and gestured to Olga to detonate the explosives. It was awesome. God, stop the logging. The effect was better than I can imagine. There was a flash and the muted roar of explosions as the harvesters shuddered and burst into flames. There were confused screams and we stormed the machines, shouting and throwing stones. When the real fight began, the adrenaline kicked in and the world split into freeze frames. See, I need to protect the veil. Let's charge at the loggers. I saw a young man in work overalls staring at me with a terrified expression. I overpowered him. I anticipated his movements. I stepped to one side and his axe sighed through the air. He had no idea what to do next, and it was easy to beat him into submission. The cops were coming. Cops were running our way, shouting orders, batons. Batons raised, faces red with anger. Oh, do we just kick the crap out of them? They probably deserve it. Turn the game audio up a little bit, because this is really cool. Let's kick their asses. 2 health off. I screamed and lunged at them. They were too shocked, too scared to react in time. Their batons hurt like hell. But my rage burned within me, and I kicked their asses. A SWAT team. I changed. Krenos is a war form, a ruthless killing machine. There's nothing subtle about it. I was in Krenos, the war form. Pain hit me like a wrecking ball. Every bone in my body breaks and moves and resets. I roar in agony. Panting and growling, I rise and rise and rise. I'm an 8-foot tall killing machine. SWAT. A SWAT team appears in full riot gear, their faces grim behind their visors, their guns ready to pepper us with rubber bullets. So, I can heal, I've got enough rage. I look at the wall of shields closing in on me. The humans are not running. I stopped, confused, and this short break is enough for my wounds to heal. So, I could attack them. I don't know how much health that'll take off. Or I can make them stop. Let's make them stop. I stand in front of the enemy, spread my arms and roar. They fear me. They stop advancing. I look around on the battlefield. It's not good. The police are pushing forward and the protesters are retreating. I must turn the tide. I chase the retreating minister. Okay. So you go after the minister. That'll probably be bad. I'll lead a charge at the harvesters. But if you kill the minister, that could potentially make things a lot worse for everyone. I'll lead a charge at the harvesters. We've already destroyed them. Let's go back to save our friends. The cops are closing in on a group of activists, heavily equipped men against teenagers, old women and clueless hipsters. Batons appear above the ground and then disappear again. The air is heavy with pepper spray. The cops are angry and more brutal than they need to be. They are using it All is an excuse to vent their frustrations, but they don't care what it's all for. They'd beat football hooligans with the same zeal. Let's get over there. Galliard. I'm fed up with overthinking it. I am Gaia's voice, and it's time to inspire some epics. So I protect my friends. I start running. The cops reach for their pepper spray and tasers. It hurts. Holy shit, that killed me. I stand my ground. I brace myself and a claw at charging officers. There's many more of them, but I have time. Suddenly I realise that I'm still bleeding and my wounds aren't healing anymore. There's pain and darkness. I'm dead. Epilogue. Pain. Oh, I like that. I lay there on the ground, my face buried in the grass. Blood was gushing from my wounds, and the more I tried to use my hand to stop the bleeding, the more it seemed to flow. I coughed blood. I coughed, bubbles of blood and air coming from my mouth. Was this it? Was this how it was all going to end? On the grass in the ancient forest, in a place I'd never seen, among people I didn't really know. My thoughts were slow. I sighed. I remembered the blast, the white light of explosions, the roar of frenzied Garou, the battle against creatures of the worm that we'd destroyed. We'd done it. The forest was safe. What happened to the others? I briefly wondered what had happened to the others, then I closed my eyes. The story's almost over. This might be a good time to take a look at your character sheet. The last look at your character sheet. The grass will heal all wounds. You'll cover everything, I thought. No matter how high we pile the bodies, if we let her work, no one will remember the carnage. It will grow on my bones and my body will become a mound in the forest. The forest takes it all. Condition impaired. Managed to stop the logging. The forest takes it all. Let you go. I understood the forest. There is a bird's nest full of eggs. The nest is sitting snugly in the eye socket of a skull, padded with the fluff from a werewolf's belly hair. The bird looks around and then catches a worm. The forest whispers to the bird, whispers to the eggs, tells the story of the cycle of death that brings rebirth. The forest is satisfied. It covers all. I heard a voice. Come, child. I heard a voice and felt a warm, wet touch on my cheek. Come. Was it worth it? I rolled on my back and opened my eyes for the last time. The night sky above me was filled with a gigantic wolf made of stars. She had the moon between her eyes. A tear rolled down my cheek. She licked my face again. Come, she said. And I went. You have finished Heart of the Forest. Cubs gather round the fire and listen to the story of Maya Borodich. Known among the Garou as Pine of the Bone Gnawers, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack. She sang songs of glory. Maya died fighting for the Pushka. Remember her in your songs, because her death was not in vain. The Pushka was safe, at least for a while. The first protests against the logging of the Bielovica Forest took place in 2016. The game was loosely inspired by those events. All characters and events depicted in this game are entirely fictitious. I need to play this again. I've had to turn the music off. I don't know what this song is, but it's beautiful. So these videos were meant to be a review of this game, and the review has become a playthrough instead. I'm going to do another video which will be a proper review, okay, but this playthrough has been amazing and I want to play it through again. So I'm going to aim for other things. So, yeah, that's really good. Quite emotional as well. Definitely pulled on the old heartstrings there. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you've gone through all of them, then thank you. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you want to watch me do another playthrough of this, then let me know. Post, then put into the comments below you want to see another one, and we'll do that. But thank you so much. Thank you to everyone involved with the game. So thank you for sending me the game and getting me to do this. Yeah, incredible. I'm lost for words. I'll put a review out short. I'll do a review video as well, so you can watch that too. But yeah, I'm going to end it there. Wow. What a game. What a game. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I hope to do more things like this. Everyone, take care of yourself, and I'll see you all soon. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.